The Professor was released in 2018. This was written and directed by Wayne Roberts, and we have a cast including Johnny Depp as Richard Brown. And I really don't know how I feel about this. I will admit that if it were not Johnny Depp, I would have enjoyed it less. I'm certainly willing to admit that. But I don't know how I feel about the story or the execution of the narrative. It's certainly very thought-provoking, but I don't know if I enjoyed it. This is about a professor, Richard Brown, who finds out that he has terminal cancer, and it kind of changes the way he behaves, which I think feels very believable. He behaves in a way that's maybe a little more free and a little bit more erratic, and it's definitely very character driven, which is not a criticism. It's driven by his character, his response to things. But I feel like, and maybe this is just me going in thinking it was going to be one thing and getting something different, but based on the premise, I thought it was going to be about how he felt free and about how this diagnosis meant that he was, I guess, no longer weighted down by the problems of the world, and he was able to just focus on living his life with the limited time that he had. And honestly, I think that would have been a much better film, a much more inspirational film, because time is fleeting. We should all make the best of it while we have it. But it was actually really heavy. And I would have expected some heavy moments, but the film in its entirety was really heavy and honestly just kind of depressing. I didn't love the tone of the film. I didn't love the mood, the feel of it. It didn't work very well for me. It wasn't an enjoyable experience. It wasn't uplifting. It wasn't really motivational. Yes, of course, it does send the message that time is fleeting and that any one of us could receive news similar to Professor Richard Brown's at any moment. And it did make me think, well, if I was in his shoes, how might I behave? And of course, I have no idea. I don't think any of us could actually guess how we'd behave in that situation until we're in it. So it is thought-provoking, but I don't think it really had the impact it could have had. I think it could have been a much more interesting, inspirational, and uplifting film. Particularly if somebody's watching this going through something similar, or they have a family member or a close friend who has a similar diagnosis. I don't think it's going to provide a lot of value. It might feel realistic, it might feel believable, but that doesn't come across as really having any benefit for the viewer, at least in my opinion. So I didn't really like it, but at the same time it did make me think. And that's never a bad thing. A film that makes the viewer think is at least doing something right. But I think it could have been a much stronger film. It's also a comedy drama, and I disagree with that entirely. That's not to say there isn't the odd line here and there that's maybe slightly dry and witty and it's just slightly lighter than the rest of the film. But no, if you're looking for a comedy drama, this is not that film. I don't think they took the right approach with it. I think they could have told the same story, but had a much bigger impact while still making the viewer think. So the few benefits of this film are the fact that it's thought-provoking, and in my opinion, Johnny Depp. He did give a really good performance. But other than that, I don't think they took the right angle with this. I think it could have been the same story told in a much more powerful, impactful, meaningful way. And also more enjoyable as well. So I don't think it's a great film. I don't think it hits the mark at all. Do I recommend it? I don't know. I really don't know. Sure, if you're curious, if there's anything about this film that makes you want to watch it, check it out. But there are many films dealing with similar topics that I think are much stronger. None of them come to mind, so I can't name any. But there are definitely many more films out there that deal with people receiving terminal diagnoses and how they respond to that. I feel like for the viewer, they're just much more meaningful, moving, impactful films. And The Professor just, while being, I guess, believable, didn't really deliver very much at all. The technical aspects are all fine, lighting, camera work, absolutely no issues with any of those. The performances are very good. Richard Brown as a character is well enough written, and obviously we have the benefit of Johnny Depp. But other than that, I think The Professor needed to take a completely different direction to be a great film.